Alright, hello and welcome back to Our Lives Beginnings and Always. We are going to continue on to stage 1 with the DLCs. I was just noticing while looking at this as well that he has this cast over here when he's a kid, and then when he's supposed to be an adult there's a little scar over here. Not the most important thing ever, or maybe it is, who knows, but and we never learned what happened to his arm. But anyway, I was just interested that I learned he had the scar. But continuing. Okay, so we are on to Ghost. So that makes us on to, oh gosh, what are we now? Like part 5? So this will be moment 6? Yeah, okay. Let's get into it. The night was incredibly still. You really couldn't ignore how silent it was. It was almost eerie. You could even hear Lizzie snoring in the next room over. It was hard to believe how much of a blur today was. Summer sure did slip right past you. It's interesting how they keep saying it as if summer is ending, but meanwhile we still have like a bunch of moments that I believe are in the summer since we haven't clicked end summer. You flicked through the moments like pages in a scrapbook as you laid in bed. You thought a lot about what adventures you could have tomorrow until sleep started to catch up to you. Then you heard something scrape against the window. It wasn't that uncommon for the wind to push a tree branch against the glass. Summer breezes were the worst sometimes. But the more you tried to ignore it, the louder it seemed like it became. It was like something was trying to get your attention. You lifted your head off the pillow to get a better look. Nothing was there. Nothing you could see, at least. You just went back to bed into your imagination. You had to investigate the mystery sound. It's too creepy to ignore. We'll go ahead and continue. You practically jumped out of bed and crept down the stairs to go outside. Your moms were still awake. They stayed up so late, it seemed. Luckily, they were watching TV and didn't hear the soft click of the front door opening as you slipped past. You looked around the neighborhood for a few seconds, checking over each individual house. It looked normal, but it didn't feel that way. You knew you weren't supposed to be out here right now. It was exhilarating. It made you get your decision. It scared you. I'll go with it. It's exhilarating. Let's carry on with the story and get something out of this rather than just sleep. Your chest was light and you couldn't keep the grin off your face. No one had permitted you to go out. In fact, no one even knew you were out. And yet, here you were. You wondered what else you could do, what other rules were so ingrained that you had never even considered that they could be broken.
Jamie.
Ah. Oh, look at him all cute in his little sweater. You twitched at the sudden call, immediately calming down upon seeing Cove walking up to you. It was strange, and yet also completely normal, to have him appear like this right now. What are you doing? I saw you standing around in the middle of the street from my window. You weren't sleeping either? Why not? Cove turned up his lips to smile, almost as if he were amused by the question. Because. Did you hear a weird noise? You should be in bed. Because what? I'm glad you're here. Oh, well, I'm glad you're here. Whatever the reason is, at least you were no longer alone in the dark. I heard a strange noise. You too? That's why I was up. Cove hesitated for a moment, looking down the street before his aquamarine eyes fell on you again. Did it scare you? Yeah, no, a little. We'll go keep doing direct. Yeah, me too. I was kind of wondering if it was the wind, but what if it's not? What if it's a person? What if it's something that's not a person? The unsettling noise suddenly rushed through the air. Cove and you flinched. The sound's even worse than before. You were about to agree with him when the noise came yet again, tearing through the still night. The two of you rapidly looked around, trying to find the source, but to no avail. There was no sign of an answer to this puzzle you thought about. You thought that it could be anything. It had to be a ghost. There's got to be a regular reason for it. Ooh, well, since we're going the ghost story, had to be a ghost. Invisible, creepy thing luring children from their beds? Had to be a monster. The thought terrified you down to the bones, and you regretted leaving the safety of your nice warm bed. Hey, can you tell where it's coming from?
Not really.
Then we'll have to look more. Somewhere else. Maybe we'll see something. Okay, let's go. The two of you walk along the familiar streets of your neighborhood, sharing the sidewalk and the small amount of courage you have between each other. Shadows cut corners and angles where you didn't expect them, distorting the features you saw every day. The noise came again, shrill and hard. It set your teeth on edge, the way it ground its way through you. Cove's throat bobbed, his eyes glistened in the dim light. You stayed frozen to the spot, took a deep breath to calm yourself. You ran to hide behind Cove. Took a deep breath to calm yourself. Sucked in a lungful of cool night air, letting it out slowly through your mouth. Your parents had mentioned that it was good for relaxing nerves. There was no question that you were afraid of whatever the noise may be, but you didn't want that to stop you. Despite your fear, you had to be brave. Cove shut his eyes and pressed his lips together. Where did you want to check? The park, the beach, the hill behind my house. I guess the beach? The beach drifts out in front of you, nothing in sight, and along its sand no matter which way you turned. Part of you had imagined the noise as some creature in the deep, washed up on the shore and calling for aid. That theory had to be taken off the list for now. Still, you'd spent enough time on the shore to know that the real finds often required a sharp eye and careful attention. The sound screamed past your ears. You hunched up, shoulders high, as if ready to endure a blow, but the only damage was to your ears. There didn't appear to be any immediate danger, despite every bone in your body telling you that something wasn't right. But you kept going forward. Ran away, you stuck behind to your neighborhood quietly. But you kept going forward. You couldn't stop when you had already gone so far. You had to find out what was going on. Terror washed over you, rising the fine hairs on the back of your neck. And then he whispered to you, "Let's see if there's anything here." Cove began to comb the beach for clues. You followed suit. The angry wind set grains of sand rolling across the beach like waves. You stayed clear of the water, which was rough and choppy tonight, and scoured the area for hints as to what might be happening. You were too wrapped up in your own search and imagining the possibilities behind the noise to pay attention to what Cove was up to, though you occasionally glanced up to make sure he hadn't vanished. You saw a little white point jutting out amongst the sand. You bent down and brushed the grains away, like a archaeologist on TV, uncovering a conical shell. Yeah, see, I remember doing that as a kid. You carefully dust over something as if you're an archaeologist. You ran your fingers over its bumps and curves, admiring the little shell. Holding it up to your ear, you heard the usual waves. Though your find was undoubtedly special, it was unconnected to the mysterious noise. That was okay. That meant you could take it home safely and add it to your collection. Once you were satisfied nothing out of the ordinary was to be found on the beach, you had to consider your next step. Though the noise wasn't as clear as when you first stepped inside, you could still hear its shrieks rendering through the peaceful night. I checked the park now, decide to check the hill behind your house now, decide to go back home now. Let's do the hills, since they both like the hills. You and Cove ascended the hills, lit only by the stars and night sky. The wind rippled through the grass and ruffled your hair. Without the sun's light to translate what you were seeing, every bush in the distance looked like a creepy figure or towering monster. The noise was quieter here. Whether that was because what was causing the noise was coming to an end, or because you were further from the source, you couldn't be sure. Get some water in here. Alright, the top of the hill was an excellent vantage point to survey the town from. Everything appeared normal. There was no out-of-place sight, pinpointing the answer to this mystery. Without visual markers to guide your way, you supposed it was up to you and Cove to deduce the source of the sound. Dale had many great hiding places, and you intended to check them all. You upturned rocks, peered up trees, and rummaged in the thick grass of anything that might bring some closure on all this. Despite your thorough search, you turned up nothing amiss. Still were glad you had come. You were frustrated by the lack of progress. You stayed in bed. Love you. Still, you were glad you had come. You always relished playing outside rather than being cooped up indoors. This had been a terrific excuse to go out and see the world in a different light, literally. Well, whatever the noise was, you were confident that you had established that it was not coming from the hill. You stretched out, arms reaching towards the sky, like you were about to grab one of the twinkling stars. Your body was feeling heavy now, no longer spurred by fear and adrenaline. However, the noise had not been located. You listened for it, hoping that something about its call would finally click for you. It didn't come. What is gone? Cove, who had been admiring one of the poppies, perked up at that. You put your finger to your lips and watched as he went through the same verification process as you. It stopped, but what was it in the first place? I don't know. That was that then. There was no need to stay out here any longer, without a single clue or even the noise itself to lead you. You felt your bed calling you. It was much sweeter, friendlier call than the one that had lured you out of bed in the first place. The night was still as you walked home, with none of the usual background noise or the eerie whistles from before. You could hear every step you and Cove made, like a cough in a movie theater. The two of you came to a halt outside your front door. Never before had it looked so ominous. You wrung your hands nervously. Would your absence have been noticed? Do you sneak out a lot? This is the first time, not really. Lots you were lying. Lots you were telling the truth. Oh, interesting. But we made it our first time. This is the first time. Yeah, I've never tried to do it till now. Thought so. How did you know? I haven't seen you out my window this late before. That was fair, though it could have been possible you were just so good at sneaking that this was the first time he'd caught you. Are you worried about getting caught? No. He was forthright. He was so forthright that you believed him completely. But your dad, won't he get mad or sad if he catches you? He's never happy with what I do. I don't think that's true. His dad seems to like him a lot, or love him a lot, and is always happy to have him do stuff, so I wonder what it is that happened that the relationship is such a mess, and like what happened with the mom as well. Oh. You sympathize, you encourage Cove to see it more positively, stay out of it. You didn't know how to react. Well, encourage him. Your dad just worries about you. He cares. It doesn't matter if he worries, if he's the one who makes things worse. Alright, I'm going in. Okay, good night. Good night. Kids are so good at being direct, eh? Like, you feel like you should say more, or like work on things more, or see how they feel, or whatever, and or like you have more responsibility to react positively, encouragingly, or sympathetically in certain situations. Kids, it's just, well, that was unexpected. Night. Like, you turn the doorknob as slowly as a clock's minute hand, holding your breath for a telltale click of the lock, then nudging it open. When all that happened was the door open rather than blaring alarms that you'd feared, you melted with relief. Back inside your house, you were surprised to find your mom still watching TV. Weirder still, it looked like they were in the same show as they were watching before you left, yet you were positive you'd been out investigating for hours. Perhaps you could use your distraction to your advantage. If you could just get up the stairs, you would be safe from suspicion. But how could you get there? Oh, you tried to sneak past, you decided to walk in your own house nonchalantly. You couldn't, you had to give up and come clean. Try to sneak past? You hugged the walls, you crept delicately around the perimeter of the room. I mean, we got out the first time, but I guess the second time. It's a valiant effort that any spy would have been proud of, right up until the moment when you tripped over a power cord and nearly fell over. Jamie? You might not have fallen, but your accident ruined your cover. You had been spotted. They abandoned the couch in their show to hurry over. They were still in a state of surprise. You weren't in trouble yet.
Are you okay?
What are you doing down here, sweetie? Did you have a bad dream? Told the truth, you lied, you did not answer. Oh god, I don't know if we should just tell the truth. Oh, and then maybe we'll get Cove in trouble too, but I don't want to, like, lie. I'm just gonna not answer. Their surprise gave way to concern as the two shared a look. Mom took you by the hand and led you up the stairs. Woof, your hand is cold. Why didn't you come over to us? I was supposed to be in bed. Jamie, you will never be in trouble for coming to us when you're frightened. We'd much rather you come to us than try to solve things all by yourself. Her phrase made you feel bad. The nurse essayed at you as you were tucked into bed. Your moms assumed that your flushing and insistence on delving under the covers was part of your fear and spoke to you softly until you calmed down enough to peep out from under your sheets. Once your moms had left, you turned over the night's adventure in your mind. It was still hard to believe that you'd really done it. It was harder still to believe that you'd gotten away with it. Even now, you half expected to be caught somehow. Perhaps you'd left the door ajar, or trailed sand where they'd already swept. You wondered how Cove's dad had handled his return. Cove hadn't been at all scared about his dad's reaction. Yeah, I remember those feelings, you know, as a kid, and you're like, oh gosh, but what if I left this one thing, or whatever, because we work on autopilot, or we do certain things when we're freaked out, or in a rush, or adrenaline rush. You go into bed being like, oh gosh, what did I leave behind? Such a perfect kid's feeling and recognition. Wriggling down deeper underneath the sheets, your thoughts turned to what the noise could have been. Nothing had been solved tonight, but that wasn't so bad. There are lots of mysteries in this world. Your thoughts morphed into dreams, carrying you to more and more outlandish visions of what might lay behind the strange sounds. I wonder if, like, we'd gone a different way that we would have found it, like if it was the park or something. I would have assumed maybe the hills, since it's closer by. The next morning proceeds mostly like usual, though your mom seemed to be giving extra consideration since finding you last night. You later learned Cove didn't end up in trouble for the nightly escapade either. It was unclear whether that was because his dad chose not to punish him or if Cove got away with it. It was amazing to you that it all worked out for both of you. As for the sounds that started this all, the adults around were convinced it was nothing more than the wind. For your imaginative mind, that wasn't nearly enough. How could they accept something so simple so easily? Maybe it'd make more sense when you were grown up too. Aw, okay, so there you have it. That was Ghost. I liked it. It was fun. It was calm. I think it's nice that, because some of them don't always have like immediate things happening or cutscenes or all these kinds of things, but I still enjoy them. I still find them relaxing. I still find them fun. I still find they have their emotion in it, and like the certain choices you have to make can really make you anxious. But it's fun on like trying to figure out what you're gonna do. So I'm really enjoying this still. I'm so excited. Can't wait to go through the rest of the DLCs and make it on to step 2 and see how this goes. So thank you again for watching, for sticking around. I'm gonna try to make sure I'm posting regularly. If you're seeing this and have seen the others, hopefully that has been the case. And thank you for sticking around for it. So we will be back next time with barbecue.